Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today guys, we are here to talk about a Quentin Tarantino movie on 4K. Another Quentin Tarantino movie on 4K. I just reviewed the Inglourious Basterds 4K from Arrow Video, so if you missed that, go check it out. But we are talking about Kill Bill Volume 1 on 4K, this recent release from Lionsgate. I do have the 4K Steelbook edition. There is also a standard edition as well that is available on Amazon. Now, this edition is available exclusively on the Lionsgate Limited website. So I will have this link down below, as I will the standard edition if you want to pay a little bit less to get Kill Bill on 4K. So we're going to be talking about the movie here. We're going to be talking about the picture quality. We're going to be talking about the audio, special features I'll get into as well. Then we're going to unbox this absolutely gorgeous Steelbook right here on the channel as well. Look, Lionsgate had a rough year in 2024. They are coming back strong in 2025 with all of these Tarantino Steelbooks. I got Volume 2, Kill Bill Volume 2. I've got Jackie Brown. I've got a Reservoir Dogs 4K Steelbook. We're going to be talking about all that stuff in the next few days. It was very important to me, guys, to review these individually. I didn't want to do it all in the same videos because these movies just mean so much to me. Like, I wanted to talk about them on an individual basis. And I feel like there is probably enough to talk about to do their own videos. So yeah, that's the way we're going to do these reviews, guys. Not all in one video, but we are going to do them in separate videos so I can really break down and pick apart, are these releases worth it to you? Again, it's always your choice just based on what I say. Is it worth it to you to upgrade these titles? So before we get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts on Kill Bill. Are you going to get this Steelbook? Are you going to get the slipcover edition? Let me know all that in the comment section below. And let's just get into it, guys. Let's burst this thing wide open. A long-awaited 4K release right here, guys. I have been waiting for Kill Bill to come to 4K for what feels like the longest time. Look, guys, I know I say this a lot, and people joke about it with me on the channel in the comments section. You know, Ken, this is like your 40th movie that you say is in your top 20 of all time. But Kill Bill Volume 1 is legitimately in my top 20 films of all time, along with Signs from M. Night Shyamalan, which I just got to review a couple of months ago. So I love this movie. I've loved this movie from the second that I watched it. And yes, I do consider Volume 1 to be its own film, its own cinematic experience. I know Tarantino shot both the films together. He had to separate them. I know the story. I know he considers them one film. I know a lot of people consider them one film. And there is the Whole Bloody Affair edition, which people were hoping they would do like a Steelbook of, and maybe they still will. Right now, we're going to talk about Volume 1 because I consider it to be like one complete experience. I don't know, like one of the reasons is because I paid twice to go see the movie in the theater. So I saw this and I saw the second one, and I always just saw the second one as kind of the prequel sequel. But this movie is really like its own experience to me, and like this is really my favorite one. I like the second one, and we're going to talk about the second one, and there's things to really love about the second one, the way that it fleshes stuff out. But this to me has always felt like a complete like cinematic experience. When I'm done watching Kill Bill Volume 1, yes, I want to know more and I want to go further in the story, but like I feel almost completely satisfied by the end of this film. I think that the last 40 minutes of this movie are some of the coolest like action, like set piece moments of any film, especially of this time period. And I understand that Quentin Tarantino, like he's been accused of like, you know, lifting and taking from like, you know, previous filmmakers and films from the past and stuff because he's such a film fan. So all of his knowledge of film just kind of creeps into his own filmmaking. And this is definitely like influenced by those more like exploitation, like Hong Kong kung fu movies that honestly, like admittedly, I haven't seen a ton of those. But I do want to get into watching more of those at some point. So this movie written and directed by Quentin Tarantino with a hand by Uma Thurman as well. Like she was definitely played a part in coming up with the character of the bride. But like I just think that this is just one of the like coolest revenge stories that there is. Like Uma Thurman plays the bride like so perfectly. The way the movie starts with the fight sequence with her and Vivica A. Fox is so incredible. I watched this movie. I made my family watch this movie with me yesterday. I'm like, you guys are going to watch Kill Bill. My son's like 14, so I was like, it's time for you to watch this damn movie because it's just one of my all-time favorites. They didn't completely get it at first because there's a lot of weird stuff that kind of happens that I don't feel like ages the best for certain people nowadays. But you know, Quentin Tarantino, he's always like pushed the boundaries of filmmaking and cinema and just not afraid to go there in these more like taboo subjects. So like they weren't sure at first, but by the time we got to the end of the film, they completely like loved the movie. But I just love everything about it. I think Uma Thurman is great as the bride. Lucy Liu, in my opinion, one of the best villains. Like, she's not even on screen a lot, but like what they do with her as Oren Ishii, like the way they explain her backstory, the big like meeting at the table like sequence with her getting up on the table. I don't want to spoil stuff, but like that's such a badass like scene with her, and just the way that they like portray her and present her at the end of the film. Like, she really is like the ultimate bad, in my opinion, of these movies. It's not even Bill, in my opinion. I think it's Oren Ishii. So the way that this movie ends is so incredibly epic. Like the big fight sequence at the end, in the restaurant, the nightclub, whatever you want to call it, is so incredible. I love it all. I eat all of it up. Just the way that they shoot it, how they're transitioning between black and white, the way they do the silhouettes with the blue color in the background is so freaking cool. But the final battle sequence back in the courtyard is also so great. Again, I'm not trying to spoil stuff. I know there's still people out there that haven't seen this film, but I just love it so much. So I'm coming at this with so much passion right now. So like the score, the music, oh my God, is so incredible. The way he utilizes the music in this film is so spectacular. Like for the short time period that Daryl Hannah's on the screen in this film, Vivica A. Fox, of course, Daryl Hannah gets more to do in the second one. But Vivica A. Fox is excellent. I love everybody in these movies, just the way that he transitions and shoots everything. Just the story is so good. Everything about Kill Bill Volume 1, in my opinion, is perfect. I would give it a perfect 5 out of a 5, 10 out of a 10. It's so awesome. So I love this movie with like every bit of myself. Now let's get into the 4K, guys, because I feel like this is going to be another one that I don't know yet. Again, I got these very early. I didn't see a lot of other people getting these in. So I got this in pretty early from Lionsgate to talk about. So I haven't really heard anybody else or anybody's like reaction on this at all. I'm just coming at this from my perspective. So this was an upscaled to 4K. It's got Dolby Vision. It's got HDR. The movie itself, back in, I guess, 2002 when they shot this film. Maybe it was a little bit earlier, maybe it was a little bit later, but it came out in 2003. It was shot on Super 35 millimeter, which kind of lends itself to a more like grain heavy experience, I feel like, as far as watching the actual film, which you definitely pick up on, you know, in the 4K format here. But the movie, just like Inglourious Basterds, like we just talked about this, was finished as a 2K digital intermediate. So this was kind of newer technology, especially at this time. And Tarantino was one of the first to kind of utilize that. So this is another case where you couldn't really like go back and do that native 4K because the movie was finished in 2K. So if you did that, you would have just fundamentally changed like the way the movie looked. So this is another situation where it was upscaled to 4K, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason they didn't go back and do that native 4K restoration. So really what you're leaning on here is that uptick in overall like quality of the presentation, and you got the Dolby Vision, the HDR. I'm going to be honest, like the first half of this movie, it looks good. Like you can for sure notice an upgrade for sure. There is more detail in the faces. There is more detail in like the backgrounds and stuff like that. The outfits, you can definitely tell an uptick as far as the colors and how vivid they are, how much they pop with the HDR and Dolby Vision. You can definitely notice that stuff. But I wasn't as impressed with the first half of this movie, as I was the second half, which in my opinion, like that is what you wanted this 4K for. You wanted this 4K for that great like battle set piece moment at the end at the restaurant, like, and the big like battle sequence in the courtyard at the end. Like that's what you wanted for, and that's where like there's the most colors and like the outfits and all that stuff. The yellow jumpsuit that the bride is wearing at the end just pops so much. But when everybody's running in the black outfits and the masks and everything, the whole like actual like setting of the restaurant looks phenomenal in 4K. It's got such incredible detail. But like, look, guys, again, not trying to spoil stuff, but when she's lopping off limbs and there's blood flying everywhere, the color of the red, the way it splatters on stuff, all that stuff looks great with the HDR. But there's so many cool things that Quentin does, just with the cinematography, how he's kind of going back and forth between the black and white, how he's doing some sequences like in red and blue with the silhouettes that just really pop in that 4K. But the thing that I noticed the most, I'd say, is when the bride first walks out into that courtyard and there's snow on the ground, it's got a blue night sky. That really, really pops in 4K, especially when you compare it. I got the Blu-ray right here. This is a Blu-ray Steelbook. So I did pop in this Blu-ray, even though this has a Blu-ray with it, but I wanted to make sure it was the same Blu-ray. But when I watched that sequence on Blu-ray, it did not look as good as it did on 4K. It did not pop as much. It looked very flat. It looked also very bright as well, which kind of took away from it. But when you watch it on 4K, you have those deeper black levels. You have that deeper contrast between the white of the snow and the night sky. And it looks a little bit darker and dimmer, but also it's just so incredibly detailed as well. And those colors just really pop. The whites contrasted with the darkness of the sky just really pop and just look phenomenal in 4K. So when she first walks out there and you see and also the yellow of her suit contrasted with the white of the snow and the sky as well, the blue night sky as well, also looks phenomenal. But the way he shoots that with the water fountain and them just kind of off in the distance, it's so incredibly detailed. You didn't notice as much detail in the Blu-ray. And I watched this whole sequence on Blu-ray, then I watched it on 4K just to kind of compare it in my mind. So much more incredible detail. You can make out a lot more stuff on the 4K than you can the Blu-ray. So for my eyes, like, largely, I think this is a really solid 4K. It's not going to be the most like mind-blowing 4K release of 2025, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to be one that ends up in my top 10, but I did think it was a really good uptick. And I think that the scenes that needed to deliver absolutely delivered in the 4K, but also, like, this is a release that is going for $40 right now on the Lionsgate Limited website. It is a little bit cheaper if you want to get the standard version. I think it's $29.99 or it's $27.99. It's one of the two. Again, I'll have these linked down below. So I want to make sure that you guys know it's not the most massive upgrade in terms of picture quality over this Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray looks largely pretty good. It's still pretty detailed as well. I just think the colors pop a lot more in this 4K with that HDR than they do in this Blu-ray. So I want you guys to understand, it's not the biggest upgrade in the world. It's not the most massive. I'm not sitting here saying this is, oh my God, this is just one of the best 4Ks I've ever seen. I'm not trying to say that, but it's also a very solid 4K. And I think for what they had to work with, Lionsgate and the team over there probably did the best that they possibly could with this 4K. Now, getting into the sound, no sound upgrade here. You have the 5.1 DTS HD Master Audio. Everything sounds good. I don't think this is a movie. It's got incredible like sound design and music and stuff, but I don't think it's a movie that needed a Dolby Atmos or anything like that. So I think that the sound that they utilize is perfectly fine. Now, let's get into the packaging here, guys, because this is a really cool Steelbook by Lionsgate. I wasn't completely like sold on these Steelbooks. The back is incredible, guys, with the yellow and the reds and all that stuff and all the characters as well. So yeah, the back of this is absolutely incredible. But yeah, the front of this Steelbook is really awesome. But let me show you a really cool thing about the Steelbook that I don't think a lot of people notice. So you have the samurai sword right there, and when you take this off, you can see what it does to Lucy Liu's head, which is really cool. Which, if you've seen the movie, if you know, you know. But you take it out of that slipcover, and yeah, there's a lot of really cool Easter eggs on these Steelbooks. Not just this one, but also Jackie Brown and Kill Bill. And then I'll show you the spine right there. But yeah, I love the way this looks like in person. I honestly think it looks a lot better in person than it did, when they first showed it on the website a couple of months ago. But you open this up, you do have a digital code. You also have a Blu-ray and you have a 4K. Now, the special features are on the Blu-ray disc. I think they're also on the 4K, but they might also just be on the Blu-ray disc. And I'll just go ahead and say it right here, guys. They're all the same features that were on this Blu-ray. You have the music video, and then you have the making of Kill Bill, which I think is from the DVD era. I think they did that when it was initially released back in 2003 or 2004 on DVD. So there's no new special features, and that's extremely disappointing here. But on the inside, You got disc art right there, guys, which is just incredible. I love the disc art of both of those. And I'll go ahead and take these discs out. Just kind of show them to you one by one. You do have the Lionsgate Limited like logo on these. Like they're going to brand these Lionsgate Limited if they're on their Lionsgate Limited website. But of course, they're still going to have Amazon exclusive Steelbooks as well. But that's really cool right there with the band on that disc. And you got Uma Thurman on the bike right there, which is super awesome. Guys, I tried to keep, when I was talking about the movie, I tried to keep things very vague as far as the story, because I really think that this, all you really need to know is this is a story of revenge. That's really all you need to know. I don't want to like get too far into the story, because like if you're watching this for the first time, like I want you to go in pretty cold as far as like what you know, like story wise. But this is a really cool Steelbook by Lionsgate Limited. Again, the slipcover like artwork is pretty decent. I didn't love it, but it's decent. But the Steelbook is honestly where it's at, but it is going for $40 right now. So in closing, guys, this is a good release from Lionsgate. I can say that with confidence. This is a good release. It's not a great release, though. I think the lacking of special features definitely holds this back. I don't know everything that goes into that. Maybe Lionsgate wasn't able to do it, but we just had great editions of Kickboxer and Stir of Echoes with brand new special features. So I don't know what the limitations are. Maybe Tarantino didn't allow it, or there was something there with that. They wanted too much money. I don't know, but they just did a lot of special features for the Inglourious Basterds 4K. So I don't know, why we couldn't get new special features. And I do think that if Lionsgate wants to be more boutique and start their own website, they have to start paying attention to that kind of stuff. Because I think that it kind of stuff is definitely important to people that collect these, premium editions. Yes, we like cool packaging, and there are some people that will 100%, just get this because it's a cool Steelbook, and they want cool upgrades, cool premium editions for movies that they love in their collection, and I completely understand that. And the 4K itself, it's a solid 4K. It's a solid 4K, but is it $40 solid to get this, cool Steelbook edition with a good 4K, no new special features? That I'm not so sure about. That, again, is up to you. I can only offer my insight and information. It's always up to you guys whether it's worth it to you to pick up this edition. So that's my review of the Kill Bill 4K Steelbook from Lionsgate. Please, if you can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, comment down below, guys, what's your thoughts on this Kill Bill 4K Steelbook? Do you love Kill Bill? Are you going to get this regardless of the picture quality of the special features? Do you just want this movie, a nice edition of it, in your collection? Let me know all that in the comment section below. Turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.